Okay, so this was a good episode, but I don't think I have too much to say about it. We'll see. Okay, first thing to talk about is the duel. Well, I did expect to see Vitas go because it didn't seem like there was too much story left to him, even though you can argue that Tina doesn't have much of a story, and Tina has done more to make me not like her in comparison to Vitas. But in the end, I'm happy with the results because I really didn't want to see Laura go because I think her fight to stay alive is pretty interesting, just like Candace's was while she was in the game. Although I do think it was interesting that Laura helped Tina out like that. Pretty interesting. So then going back to camp, Hayden and Caleb make what is a very justified move in that most likely they're going to be on the bottom as the game goes on because Tyson and Jervis want to going to stick together and all that stuff. So they do try and pull over Sierra, which is smart because, get the Tad Hana crew together and then just help out, but also use the loved one connections to vote out the returnees. Another way of looking at it, not bad. And then Sierra does make another good observation in that Hayden and Caleb are so willing to turn on them, whilst Tyson and Jervis have been the ones deciding outcomes and are very sure of what they're doing, it does make a little bit more sense to stick with the people who are one more sure or just in control. Uh, what happens after that? Oh yeah, and then Hayden and Caleb are able to figure out that Sierra has flipped on them, but then they do what I think was very stupid and ask Tyson outright what is going on with this, when really what they should have done is go to Monica, because the thing that annoyed me about this episode was that Monica didn't get a single confessional, and this is pretty ironic coming from the guy who a few episodes back was begging everybody to turn on Monica. So, it was obvious that Sierra had flipped on them and that Katie was with them, so just go to the person that you don't know. Hello, this is not rocket science. Pfft. Well, finally I mentioned that in the video, huh? Then as for that immunity challenge, I was surprised at how many people sat out to eat. This was the first time I thought that everybody would participate in a challenge like that. And then after Katie wasn't able to do it, I did want Caleb to go because, well, since Brad got booted, there hasn't really been anything to mention about Caleb, honestly. He's gotten barely any confessionals since then. He's hasn't talked really that much, and he's just dead weight. He's a likable guy, but he's just not doing enough to be interested in. That's the problem with seasons with 20 people. Pardon me, people do their thing, and even though they stick around for a while, they just stop doing stuff, and then we're like, why is this person here? I hate when that happens, so I was actually hoping that Sierra and Monica would stick to Tyson and Jervis and then get rid of Caleb. So after Caleb fell, I actually began to surprisingly want Monica to win the challenge, even though I don't think that would have really affected the results that much. Although, unfortunately for her, I think it was just because Hayden winning wouldn't have been as good as Monica winning. But still, I am impressed at how much she's been able to rock at these challenges, I have to admit. And the interesting thing is, I'm pretty sure the record for most individual immunities won by a woman in a specific season is 4, because Jenna Maraska did that, Kim did that, and I think there's one other person who did it. I don't think it's Pav, though. I don't know why. So, yeah, she's one away from getting that record because she has the Final 6 immunity, Final 5, the other Final 5 immunity, and the Final 4. So, yeah, she's just going to win one more. That'll be interesting to see if she does, and part of me actually is hoping she does, surprisingly. There you go. My opinions could change. Tribal Council, I was honestly expecting it to be 6 votes for Sierra, 1 for Caleb, but then surprisingly everybody ends up sticking together and votes out Caleb. Well, I was happy to see that happen. Then as for next week, I hope Caleb loses the duel because there's just more to the two moms there. And then Hayden trying to stay alive, well, it's obvious that he'd have to do that, so breaking up Tyson and Jervis is the best outcome. And then it looks like Sierra actually is safe now, I'd bet, because here's the interesting thing. I would think that if multiple people, like, what's the proper term, renege on you? I can't pronounce that word. Because, like, it's obvious that Sierra did that to Hayden, but then Tyson and Jervis do it after her. And I would think that Hayden actually has more reasons to be angry at them, because Sierra, I think, honestly, that wouldn't have been too surprising, but Tyson, yeah, it is for somebody in Hayden's position. Especially given how buddy-buddy they have been in previous episodes, albeit Hayden did renege on Tyson first, but, that's just what I think his anger is going to be directed towards. As for individual immunity, because I think that there's been a few hints that next week individual immunity is going to matter a lot. My guess is just a scenario that we don't expect. Oh, and if you go to the Survival on CBS channel on here, do not, I repeat, do not look at the other preview that they've got there, okay? I've already had one thing spoiled to me, and then I stopped watching it, but thankfully it was a spoiler that I kind of had already thought would happen. Oh, so trust me, don't do that.